Welcome back to BYUtv.org, Men's Basketball Media Day web chats. Now joined by Charles in charge, Charles Abouo, senior shooting guard, small forward, or whatever position you want him to play. Charles, thanks for hanging out.
Thanks for having me.
Okay, if you have a question for Charles, tweet it at BYUtv Sports. Post it on Facebook.com/BYUtv Sports. So what's the summer been like for you as you get ready for your senior year? It seems like you just got here from a prep academy in New England.
Yeah, it's gone by pretty fast, but summer was good. Just hung around with the teammates, worked on our conditioning, our skills, and got ready for our team trip to Greece, which went pretty well for us.
You played on the Ivory Coast national team, so traveling might not be as big a deal for you as the other guys, but what was it like to go to Greece?
It was great. We've never had, since I've been here, I've never left the country with BYU, obviously, so it was interesting to get to go to a different, environment and, play some different teams and, get to bond with the team in a different setting. And it was a great trip. We really enjoyed it.
What did you tell the guys about playing internationally and playing Italy and Greece? And had you played them before in any tournaments?
I'd played Greece before, so I just tried to give the guys a couple pointers about the personnel on their team. So it was basically the same guys, but
you're the human scouting report.
Yeah, definitely with those guys, because I played them in Turkey, so I was able to be a little bit familiar with them. But it was just basketball is just basketball. They have some really good basketball in Europe, some really good teams, and we didn't really have much information on those teams, so we just had to go play and use it to make our team better, and I felt we did that.
Are you still going to be playing with the Ivory Coast national team?
Yes, yeah. I'll probably be doing that for a while.
Okay. How fun is that to represent the country you were born in and to get to travel a little bit, play some ball?
It's great. It's been a neat experience, especially with how our team was in the past until the last couple years. We have the federation going in the right direction. We went from not having really any history to getting a silver medal at the African Championships and going to the World Championships. And I wasn't able to play this summer, but they actually missed the Olympics by one game. So it's good.
Because you weren't there.
I don't think so, but I'd like to think that, but that's probably not the case. They still had a good team, but it's just been good to with our country going through all the things that it's going through politically, it's good to, give people kind of a distraction from those things and have them follow the basketball team and also the soccer team, which does pretty well. So.
Yeah. When did you move to, Logan, Utah, when you were little? How old were you?
I was 11 years old when I moved to Utah. And I lived in Sandy. Okay. For about a year, then we moved up to Logan.
That's quite the transition. Yeah. Ivory Coast to Utah.
It was Ivory Coast to Milwaukee, Wisconsin for about 5 years, then to Utah.
Okay. So how old were you when you went to Milwaukee?
It was like a couple days before my 7th birthday.
Okay. Yeah. Then down to BYU. Utah State, first game on the schedule. Utah State, they like to call your number a little bit since you're a Logan guy. How sort of, fun is that game since there's that element to it? You are from Logan.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. It's a lot of excitement. We always love that challenge. Playing those guys, they're a great program, and especially playing up there, it doesn't get any better. That early in the season to have a game like that with a lot of pressure. You're playing in a tough environment. It's really good for your team, and it's a good test for us early on.
Chatting with Charles Abouo as the women's basketball team practices behind us. If you have a question for him, tweet it at BYUtv Sports or post it on Facebook.com/BYUtv Sports. Ralph almost says, "You're my favorite BYU player. All around good and underrated. Can you be the leader of the defense this year?"
Yeah, definitely. I love playing defense. I take a lot of pride in my defense, and we have a team that's always been committed to doing that, and I love that aspect of the game. So I definitely think I can help take charge on the defensive end.
Why should BYU fans, be excited about this team with Jimmer and Jackson gone and with the load of talent coming back?
Yeah, I think I think we've had some real success here in the past, but our coaches do a great job of keeping that talent coming in on the team and coaching that talent and instilling a good work ethic in the team. And I think I think we have the same components to have a really good team this year. We have a lot of good returning guys. Fortunately for us, we're going to miss some great players, but we have most of our front court back, and I think that's really going to help us. But we have a good team, great coaches. We're willing to take the challenge that this year is going to bring, so we're excited.
Let's get to a tweet for you. It says, Charles, how excited are the Cougars to be playing on a national TV stage with a big audience this year on ESPN?
Yeah, we're definitely excited. It's been really cool to see all the football games on ESPN. It's a little different, and just hearing the announcers talking about BYU and commentating about BYU, I think it's definitely good for our program and definitely good for our school to get that type of attention. And it's been working out well, with the football team as we can see, and we're excited to have that chance to play on national television.
You still roommates with Jimmer?
Oh no, Jimmer's moved on.
Jimmer's moved on.
He's living on his own now, which is probably good. He needs to get away from the college scene. So.
What was Jimmer like as a roommate?
He was a perfect roommate. He doesn't, he never gets on your nerves. He's pretty even keel. He's really good at, helping you with something if you need to talk. He's always willing to listen. Whenever you need a ride, he'll come get you or take you anywhere you want to go. Anytime you need something, he's there. So, not only me, but all our roommates that have lived with him really enjoyed living with him just because, he's a good guy and he's a good person. So it was definitely fun living with him for that amount of time.
Have you given him your autograph? Hey, you might need this.
Sometime. I might have signed some things just joking around, but not seriously. I've never given my autograph.
Of course. Okay, Nick Scoops Standiford says, is there a place you have never been but would like to visit? Also, what would you recommend that I do to be as buff as you? How do you stay ripped?
First of all, I just want to say Scoops is one of my best friends. He was a manager with us here for a couple years, and a lot of what I've been able to do has been with his help. He's rebounded the ball, I don't know how many times for me and Jimmer and Lamont and all the guys that have been here. So he's been a great help. But I've always wanted to visit, Dubai. I think it's pretty cool. I always see pictures. I think it'd be a neat place to go. I don't know if I'll ever get there, but hopefully. And I'm not going to answer his second question.
Are you the strongest guy on the team?
I don't know. I don't think so.
Who benches more than you?
I probably bench more than everyone, but I don't know. I don't know if that means I'm the strongest or anything.
Yeah. You're playing it safe. That means you're the guy. Another one from Facebook. When are we going to see a Cooking with Charles cookbook? I've heard you're somewhat of a culinary expert.
I don't know about an expert, but I love food and I love to cook. I just make a lot of my mom's recipes, which I just kind of know by heart. So I don't know if I could write some things down, but I think John was talking about doing like a little cooking show, so we might do that in the near future.
Okay, we'll see what we can do if we can't. I know there's a Chef Brad on BYU TV.
Oh, really?
Yeah, but maybe Charles and Chef Charles in charge or something. Just an idea.
Or maybe we'll get together.
We'll get a pilot. Yeah, we'll get a pilot going. Let's see. Another tweet says, "Do you guys read John Wooden and try and emulate his style at all?"
I've read a John Wooden book before. I've read it in high school, and I did a project on one of his books for my class freshman year, but I wouldn't say I read his books religiously, but I mean he was a he was a great coach, and I mean, you know, obviously a great basketball mind. And I think every basketball player and coach somehow, you know, takes some things from the pyramid of success, you know, that he talked about. So we don't study it as a team or anything, or maybe try to, you know, take it into consideration directly. But I'm sure we're all familiar with it, and we use some of his principles.
Michelle Overton asks, how has Coach Rose's style of coaching helped you develop into the player you are today?
You know, looking back on the decision to come here, I think it was one of the best decisions I've ever made. You know, his style fits right into the way I like to play. You know, obviously, you know, within the game, you know, he stresses the importance of, you know, playing on both ends of the floor and, you know, being competitive and playing intense. Those things are, you know, and those things are great. But I think what's also helped me is just, you know, he demands, you know, that effort from us on the court and also off the court. You know, it's really important to him that we develop into good basketball players, but also as, you know, good people. And I think that's definitely helped me grow as a person and definitely as a player also on the court.
We're chatting with senior Charles Abouo of the BYU Men's Basketball team here on the Men's Basketball webcasts on BYUtv.org as the Women's Basketball team practices behind us. If you have a comment for Charles, tweet it at BYUtv Sports or post it on Facebook.com/BYUtv Sports. Brianna Downey says, love watching you play, but I'm always curious. What's your favorite part of the game?
Winning. It might be, you know, it sounds cliche, but I love just, you know, overcoming a challenge with my teammates and just finding ways to grind it out and win the game, you know, whether that's on the road or at home, because, you know, every game presents different challenges, and I think, you know, good teams, you know, despite the circumstances, you know, always find a way to win and to compete, and, you know, and I think that's what our team's done, you know, since I've been here, and it's just been great to be a part of that, and, you know, I get to do another year, so I'm excited.
Give us a sense of just one of the more fun or exciting moments from last year's season, from maybe inside the locker room, because that was just so magical for the team and the fans to be able to watch what happened with Jim or with Jackson and all of you guys from last year.
You know, I think the reason why we were so successful, one of the reasons that, you know, maybe went unnoticed was the camaraderie of the team and how close we were from everyone, from, you know, the coaches to the players to the trainers. I mean, everyone always had a good time. You know, we really enjoyed each other's company. We were really comfortable with one another, and I think, you know, that shows on the court. You know, we had guys individually go through different obstacles, and, you know, sometimes, you know, things don't go your way, but you know, keeping the number one goal in mind, which is for the team to go as far as possible. I thought that was the key for all of our guys last year, and that's the mindset we all had, and it worked out well for us in the end.
Well, let's work on that cooking show, and we'll see what happens, Charles.
Okay,
sounds good. Thanks a lot, Charles. We appreciate it. Michael Boswell is up next. We'll be back in a moment on BYUtv.org.